Hi, this is Mike with Underground Explorers Overland, and today we're going to do a product review. We're spending a week in Arizona, and we brought a new gadget to experiment with. It's a portable lithium-ion battery pack. This one is the G500 by Suaoki. These battery packs have become very popular recently, mainly because everyone has so many gadgets, from refrigerators to quadcopter batteries to phones that they need to charge and power on the trail, and also because the sizes come down and the prices come down. The G500 is a 500 watt-hour pack. That's a lot of power. It's only 15 pounds, about the size of a car battery, very portable. And one thing I like about this model, unlike some of the others in the market, is the handle doesn't stick up all the time. It folds flat, making it a small cube, really easy to pack away. If you've seen the back of my Jeep, or the front of my Jeep, or the middle of my Jeep, you know how much stuff I bring on a trip and how much of a premium space is. This fits in with no problem. So let's take a closer look and see what this has to offer and what it can do. Let's take a closer look at the front panel. These are the input jacks. One is a DC coaxial for the included AC adapter or 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter. The other is an Anderson power pole. If you're not familiar with the Anderson power poles, they're very versatile, very reliable, very idiot-proof connectors that are extremely popular. It's a great feature to have, and the G500 includes a power pole to MC4 solar panel adapter. So if you have a solar panel, in most cases you can plug it right into the adapter and right into the G500 without any other wiring. The outputs are down below. There's a 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter port, which is good for up to 10 amps, two 3-amp DC coaxial ports, and 3 USB ports, one USB-C, two USB-A, all good for fast charging, and two AC 120-volt 60 hertz sine wave inverter ports, good for up to 300 watts of power. Here's an example of the kind of things you can charge with the G500, and as you can see, we've connected everything but the kitchen sink. It's charging all this at the same time with no problem. On the 120-volt port, we're charging a lithium-ion battery for our impact driver, which we use way too often on the trail, unfortunately. LED lantern, charging from one of the USB ports. GoPro is charging from another USB port. Yes, it's an old GoPro, it still works fine. Charging my phone on the USB-C port, and on the cigarette lighter output, we're charging an 18650 battery in this charger. We could plug in the battery from the quadcopter, we could plug in a fan, a number of other things all at the same time. This has tons of capacity to charge everything at once and charge it all completely more than one time. Speaking of power, let's talk about some of the power considerations when using the G500. You can basically charge this three ways: with the included AC adapter, with a 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter, or with a solar panel. Charging it off the included AC adapter puts in about 70 watts, so 70 watts an hour to charge the battery. Running off the 12-volt cigarette light adapter only puts in about 30 watts, and only when the engine is on and the voltage is above about 13.5. So it charges pretty slow on 12 volts. That's a consideration for how you use it. Our original thinking was that we'd run our 12-volt off-road refrigerator off the battery pack. When you have a down day, you don't want the fridge to draw the starting battery the entire day and not be able to start the car the next day. However, in thinking about it more, I'm not so sure that's the best idea, at least for our use case. You're parked for a day, say 24 hours to make it easy, run the refrigerator off the battery pack. You're gonna run the fridge the whole time, but you're gonna draw down pretty much the entire capacity. You'd have to drive for 14 hours the next day to charge the battery back up. It's winter, they're not gonna drive for 14 hours, you might drive for 6 or 7. So you're going to get behind the charging curve very rapidly. That makes it not the best suited for running the refrigerator. However, as you saw, we charge and power a lot of other stuff when we're on a trip. And even though all those things collectively draw a lot of power, they're way less than the capacity of the G500. So you can charge your batteries, we can run the laptop, we can run a fan in the rooftop tent if it's hot at night. We ran Ed's CPAP one night. We ran my daughter's heater for her snake in the RV while we were traveling and didn't have AC hookups for one night. And even though you're pulling all that power, it's very easy to get back to something close to a full state of charge when driving the next day, even if you're only on the road for 5 hours. And since it has so much capacity, even if you don't get back to a full state of charge, you're still going to be in good shape to run all your devices the next night. So that's how this has come in very handy. We're not pulling all that ancillary power off the starting battery. The fridge can run on it if we have to, and we're stationary during the day. We run the solar panel or run the engine for an hour. It's good for the fridge. We're not chasing a constant state of charge on this battery, and we're not drawing down the starting battery, and we can use this and run our devices and lights as much as we want and not worry about being able to get going in the morning. Speaking of solar, we also got a 100 watt Suaoki fold-up solar panel. Now, those of you that have seen our videos and pictures before, you know that I have a 130 watt roll-up solar panel. That works great for charging the Jeep, but it's kind of cumbersome. It's 18 feet long. You have to find a clear area to set it up, and you can't angle it at the sun. This has a built-in stand, folds up only that wide, has a built-in charge controller. You can power laptops or phones directly off that charge controller. You can plug it into the G500 using the Anderson connector, or you can connect it to your car battery using the included alligator clips. In full sunlight, putting out a full 100 watts, this solar panel will charge the G500 from empty to full capacity in about 4.5 to 5 hours. Speaking of capacity, even though this is a 500 watt hour battery pack, only 450 watt hours are usable. The 10% overhead is to protect the cells so they don't over discharge. However, in our testing, we were only able to get 425 watt hours of capacity out of the G500. So that's an extra 5% of overhead that's probably due to DC to DC and DC to AC inefficiencies in the circuitry. It's not a big deal, but it's something to keep in mind when you're doing your power calculations. After spending some time with the G500, we're very pleased with this purchase. It's really handy for overlanding, especially on the longer trips we tend to take. It was useful in our RV, and my wife has discovered its AC ports are very handy for powering her laptop and lights at craft fairs where she sets up a booth to sell her jewelry. So it's not something that's only going to get used on trips. We hope you enjoyed this review, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.